is a style of cloth that is popular in Nigeria, in other parts of Africa, and around the world. And it's made by using wax on top of cloth. And then that cloth is put in a special colored liquid called a dye, and the dye will stick to any places of the cloth where there's no wax. And then when you wash your cloth in hot water, the wax melts, and you only have the color on the places where there was no wax, and the places where there was wax is left white, so you get a really pretty design. This is a black and white batik cloth that we have used to make a dust cover for our piano. Today we're going to use a coloring page to make that same kind of crackly effect. We're going to be using our crayons, we're going to be using some watercolors, and we are going to be using, you can find any sort of coloring page, or you can draw your own picture with nice bold lines, but we're going to be using this seashell coloring page today. All right, so now we're going to take our picture and we're going to take our crayons. You do need to use wax crayons because that's what's going to resist the paint getting on all of your picture. So colored pencils will not work and markers will not work. And you want to make sure you press nice and firmly so that the wax covers all of the picture. If there's any place that you want to leave white, you need to color it with a white crayon. Otherwise, it will get the paint color on it. All right, so let's go ahead and start coloring. Once your paper is totally covered with crayon, we're ready for the next step. Now, this is going to seem kind of funny, but what we're going to do is we're going to crumble it up. Okay? Just crumble it up. And what this will do is this is going to make little cracks in where the wax is. And then we're going to open it up again. And then we're going to crumble it again. And then we're going to open it up. And then we are going to crinkle it one more time in a nice ball. And where we're making little cracks in the wax, that's where our paint is going to soak into the paper and give it a nice, fun, crackle batik look. We're going to flatten out our paper here. And if you have watercolor paints, you can use any dark color. I'm going to use a dark purple. But if you don't have watercolor paints, you can take a little bit of water, some food coloring. If you have purple food coloring, that's fine. If not, you can mix red and blue together to make purple. And you put some of that in your water. And if you're using the food coloring, you can also use powdered grape drink mix. That will also help with the purple color, and it'll make your paper smell kind of like a scratch and sniff painting. So if you don't have watercolor, or if you want to try making your own scratch and sniff watercolor paint, you can do this instead. But I'm going to use watercolor paints today. So I'm going to dip my brush in my water, and I'm going to go with this dark purple here, and I'm just going to start painting it onto my paper. And I'm going to do it until my whole paper is colored, including on top of where I have my crayon, because I want that watercolor to seep into the cracks. You will notice as you're coloring over where you have your crayon that the paint isn't going to seem to stick very well. And that's because the wax is resisting the paint. That's what happens when you make a batik cloth. But what's also going to be happening is those little tiny cracks where I crumbled it, that paint is actually going to be soaking in. So if it doesn't seem like your paint is sticking to your paper, don't worry about it. Just keep painting. You'll also see little puddles of paint in the middle of your picture. Don't worry about that either, because we're going to take care of that too. So let's take a look at what that's looking like. So it looks a little funny right now, but what we're going to do is we're going to take, if you have a napkin or a paper towel, and we're going to just gently press it down so that it gets up all the extra paint. And then you're going to let it dry. Once your painting is dry, it's going to look like this. And you can see that any place where there wasn't where the wax wasn't covering the paper, the purple paint got through and it gave it a little kind of crackly look, just like a batik cloth would look. This is our batik paper painting.